Good morning, everybody. Lee Brower here, and welcome to this week's edition of Meaningful Monday. I am grateful to be here, and I am glad to be here. Scientists now tell us that the average person's mind wanders somewhere between 45 and 50% of the time. What is it wandering about? Oftentimes, when we start to wander, we may start to spiral. And when we start to spiral, we may spiral downwards, or we may spiral upwards. When we're spiraling downwards, oftentimes it's because we're worried. We're worrying about something, or we're afraid of something, or we're feeling these emotions that are uncomfortable. Maybe they're guilt or shame or anger. And so we get caught in that trap of spiraling downwards. Sometimes it's often difficult to lift ourselves upwards. So how do we feel happy? It's like our mind is working, our brain is working to not make us feel happy, because it's comparing, it's doing all kinds of things. So how do we elevate ourselves? Well, we can go to the internet, right? And within minutes, you'll get thousands of people telling you 5 things that'll make you happier, 3 things that'll make you happier, 10 things that'll make you happier. Follow this and you'll be happier. That's probably a lot of hogwash. A lot of it is. Let's look and see what the scientists are saying. Interestingly enough, the scientists are saying that worry is actually good for the brain, but only good short term, because it's better than doing nothing. So what are those other things that we can do for our brain to help us stop spiraling and start springing? I'm going to share with you 3 things that scientists have given us hard evidence of that actually can help us spring up rather than spiral down. I call it AND, A-N-D, and that stands for ask, name, and decide. Number 1, ask, what am I grateful for? Just by asking, what am I grateful for? Do you know what Wellbutrin is? Well, when you ask, what am I grateful for, the brain emits a neurotransmitter called dopamine into the system. And that's what Wellbutrin does, is it pushes dopamine into the system. Do you know what Prozac does? So Prozac is another neurotransmitter that gives you good feelings and makes you feel good. You can get the same effect by just asking, what am I grateful for? You don't even need an answer. You see, it's not in the answer, it's in the question. By just asking, and what it does to the brain then is it starts to emit these wonderful neurotransmitters that make you actually happier. In addition to that, it's like like a loop, because it increases emotional intelligence. And when it increases emotional intelligence actually makes it easier to express gratitude. So when you express gratitude, your emotional intelligence goes up, and so on and so forth. Also, when you express gratitude to someone else, you get a feedback loop as well, because you elevate them, which elevates you. And so that power of gratitude is the number 1 thing. So, and ask. Ask, what am I grateful for? And see what happens. 2, name. Name the emotion. Scientists now tell us that if we don't name the emotion, oftentimes we suppress it. And that's so much worse for us. Name it. Whether you say, sadness, loneliness, guilt, whatever it may be, name it. You can even make your own name. Be fun with it. Make it up. Make something that makes sense to you. But here's the bottom line. Describe the emotion in a word or 2, and it will help reduce that emotion. All right, science backs it up. Number 3, decide. The brain science shows that making a decision reduces worry and anxiety, as well as help us solve our problems. I call it springing upward. Making decisions usually include creating intentions and identifying future milestones that engage the prefrontal cortex in a very positive way. When you engage the prefrontal cortex, it reduces anxiety and it reduces worry. Making decisions also change your perception of the world. Think about it, because you're now in motion. Finding solutions to your problems also calms the limbic system. 3 things, A and D. Recently in Coach, one of the participants, Jeff Davis, shared something on how to become better decision makers. He called it the D3, I call it the 3D, but it's a great mantra that he's been following, and it says it's really worked for him. And what those 3 Ds are deadlines, determined decisions. Share that with your family, share it with your team. See if you can't put more deadlines into what you're doing and saying, all right, this is a tough decision. Rather than vacillate back and forth, let's make a decision and go for it. By doing that, you're much better off by being in motion, even if it's not totally the perfect decision. You can adjust as you go. That's much better than stalling and putting it off because you start to spiral downwards. Talking about your mental health and strength, you want to be springing upwards. So, ask, name, decide. Have a wonderful week. I look forward to talking to you next week. Make life meaningful. Bye-bye.